students to West Intermediate. I'm Michelle Sumner. I'll be your principal this year.
I'm Molly Mills and I'm your assistant principal, and we look forward to having a great 2016-2017 school year.
And we're going to go over a few of the expectations we have of you this year. So I want you to make sure that you're giving us your full attention. Put away anything that you might have in front of you that would cause you to be distracted during the video. At West Intermediate, one of the first things you need to know is that we have 3 rules. The first, be respectful. The second, be responsible. And the third is to be reliable. So let's practice those together. At West Intermediate, we are respectful, responsible, and reliable. And if you are respectful, responsible, and reliable, you're going to have a fantastic year here at West Intermediate. Today, or shortly after today, you will be filling out your Attitudes of Excellence notebook. And you will be signing a contract in that Attitude notebook that will share your responsibility here at West Intermediate to be respectful, responsible, and reliable. So once you've signed that contract and your teacher has gone over the expectations for the school and the class, you will be held to that contract and it will be binding. At West Intermediate, you will find that we have a lot of bulletin boards out and about in the hallways. Your teachers are going to give you some more details about each of those bulletin boards, but they're actually bulletin boards we want you to answer, respond, write on, be a part of. So your teachers will probably take you on a learning walk soon, and you'll get to hear and see what each of those bulletin boards are about. But it's all about being curious here at West Intermediate, and we want you to be curious about what's on those boards. So take time to investigate and learn what those are about, and please be a good responder to those bulletin boards when and if you can. At West Intermediate, we take action, and I want students at West Intermediate to be a part of that action. So we're going to have a student leadership meeting, and that's going to be Friday, September 9th, and it will be in your commons area when your teacher dismisses you for lunch. That's an opportunity for you to come. You need to bring a clipboard, something to write with, and you'll need to bring paper. And during that time, I will walk you through what we call a resume workshop. You know, every time you apply for a job in the real world, you have to fill out a resume and tell us about your qualifications. And that's what you'll be doing with me. I'll teach you how to do that. So remember, it's on September 9th, and it's going to be during your lunch recess time. You will need to bring a sack lunch or secure a lunch from the cafeteria before that time. As I mentioned before, you know, students at West Intermediate are responsible students. So I can't have you asking your teacher if you can call your mom or your dad because you forgot your sack lunch. West Intermediate leadership students are going to be responsible students. So they're going to remember that it's on Friday, September 9th. They're going to remember that they have to have something to write on, a pencil or pen, and make sure that they have their sack lunch or something to eat. And it'll take place in the commons area. So teachers, I know that you will really want to make sure your students are involved in this, but teachers, this is one of those times when you need to step out, because we already know our teachers here at West Intermediate are responsible and reliable. I need to know that your students are. So you're welcome to put that on an agenda or your Canvas or someplace where you know that you will remember that. But teachers, it's not up to you to remind the students to go. So students, if you're interested in being a leader here at West Intermediate, you need to make plans to be there, because if you don't attend the resume workshop, you won't know what to do.
Let's continue to talk about those 3 rules, being respectful, responsible, and reliable, about our expectations in your behavior here at West Intermediate. Anywhere you travel throughout the school day, you will always travel on the right side of the hall. That allows for our traffic flow to move with ease. Your hands will be to yourself. You won't touch your neighbor or the people walking past you. You'll walk in a nice 3-line to wherever your teacher is leading you to go. However, there are 2 times that will be different for you in 6th grade. In the morning, 5th graders will continue to walk on the right side of the hall while traveling to class. 6th graders will walk on the left side of the hall when continuing to class. It will be a little bit backwards for dismissal. 5th graders, you will at dismissal continue to walk on the right side of the hallway, and 6th graders, you'll continue to walk on the left side of the hallway. Those are the only times that it's different. The other thing I want to talk about is how important it is for your attendance to be here at school and on time. Tardies and attendance count. We want you here. You can't know the fun that we're having if you're not in the seat in your classroom and on time. Next, I want to talk about is what is it like to have 5th and 6th grade manners. When we're in the lunchroom, there's a lot of you and just a few of our adults. I want you to remember that at home, if you forget your napkin, your fork, or some ketchup, it's easy for you to return to the kitchen and get that. Here in our cafeteria, it is not so easy with 300+ bodies walking around. You will need to raise your hand once you are seated. Once you make it back to your seat, you are to stay seated until an adult has given you permission to clean up and head out to recess. Let's talk about recess. Clearly, we want recess to be fair for all. We do play soccer and basketball here at school. Those will continue only if people are being fair and safe. Once those sports start getting out of hand, we will not be able to play those. Another no-no, just so you know, it is never okay to play a game here at school that involves touching another student. So I don't want to hear you in my office or Ms. Sumner's office saying, "We were just playing tag." That should never happen when you're here at school. Let's talk about the bus. There are 3 things, along with being respectful, responsible, and reliable, that will keep you out of my office or Ms. Sumner's office if you are doing on the bus. That is to sit down, face forward, and be quiet. That doesn't mean silent. You certainly can talk to the person next to you in the chair, but you should not be having a conversation with somebody 3 or 4 seats back from you. If you are facing forward, sitting down, and being quiet, the bus driver can focus on getting you home safely and not have to write you up for being unsafe on the bus. Let's talk about what happens when you first arrive at school. For the first day and the first full week of school, everyone will go straight to their classrooms. No stopping by the media center yet. You may certainly go eat breakfast if you need to. Other than that, everyone needs to head straight to their classrooms where your teachers will be waiting for you. After the first week, on Mondays and Tuesdays, 5th graders will have a little extra recess in the morning. On Wednesdays, everyone will head straight to class. And on Thursdays and Fridays, 6th graders will have the opportunity for a little extra recess in the morning. Be sure to watch in the cafeteria and on our TV screens at the entrance of our building for your reminders on if you go to class that day or if you get an extra recess that day. Next, let's talk about Jenks West Intermediate is a bully-free zone. It is federal and state law that we do not allow any bullying to happen at school. You will hear from our counselors, Mrs. Katiba and Mrs. Young, about what bullying sounds like and looks like and what you can do to prevent that. Here at West Intermediate, we are all Trojans. We want you to come together as a family and stick up for each other. We want everyone to want to be here at school, and when they're here having a good time, knowing they are safe. That is our #1 job here at school, is to ensure that everyone feels safe and is safe while they're getting a fun education here at West Intermediate. One reminder that we also want to put in here is cell phones. Oftentimes people think that cyberbullying means that it doesn't happen at school. If you are rude to somebody on the internet, we will find out, and there are still consequences. So remember, anything you put in writing can certainly be seen. Cell phones should not be out at school. Once you arrive at school, your cell phone needs to be turned off and put up safely and securely in your backpack. The only time you are allowed to have your cell phone out is if your teacher has approved an activity in your classroom. Speaking of safety first, let's go over a few rules that we should all know. There are no weapons allowed of any kind at Jenks West Intermediate or any school property. Again, our number one job is to keep you safe. There should not be pocket knives or toy guns, toy swords, any type of weapon. The handbook states a facsimile of a weapon, which means a fake one or a toy one. Shouldn't even bring toys to school at all. But please remember, do not bring those to school. There are rules in which Ms. Sumner and I must follow if those are found at school. Same with pocket knives, rubber bands, and sharp pencils. If you are not using it as a tool in this room and in the classroom that you're doing that in, then it should not be brought to school. A pencil is used as a tool not to hurt or harm anybody. Keep those in your hand, not on somebody else or flying through the air. Let's talk about that safety on the playground. You will see many things going on our playground. We don't have a lot of rules here. We want you to have fun, but we want you to be smart. So think about, what are you doing on the playground? Is it safe? What you might do at home doesn't mean it's safe here on the playground. No wrestling, no tag. There are just those simple rules to keep your hands and your feet to yourself, and everyone can have a good time. Make sure you're sharing and you're taking turns. Things you learned way back in kindergarten. If you'll remember those, we'll get along just fine when it comes to recess. You may also notice Ms. Sumner and I wearing our hard hats. Well, as you can see all around this building, we have construction going on. We're very excited for the expansion of things going on here at our site. However, that makes it hard to get through the school year this year. Please, please, please be smart. You are not to exit any door that has a sign that shows construction. You are not to enter any fence line that shows there is construction. Do not jump on the dirt piles or the debris piles. Things out there are unsafe. Again, we just want to keep you safe. It may look fun, but not while you're at school. That is a very dangerous situation, and you'll see any of those workers in that area wearing a hard hat. There are laws that in construction areas to enter, you must have a hard hat. You don't have those. Do not enter outside in those restricted areas. We want to make sure that we keep you safe, our workers safe, and the cool expansion of our building gets done on time. So please be very wise. There will be no exceptions if you are caught not following the rules of being safe and away from construction areas. We are also a drug-free, alcohol-free, and tobacco-free site. Those items should not be brought to school. You may find things at your bus stop or out in your neighborhood. Do not pick them up. Do not bring them to school. Leave them alone and allow those who are in charge of authority to address those issues. Remember, we just want to be respectful, responsible, and reliable. If following those things, we can all be safe. And when we're safe, we can have fun. And when we're having fun, we can learn. Well, that seems to be all that we have. Ms. Sumner, any last reminders for a great school year?
Just a reminder to be respectful, responsible, and reliable. And remember, this year's going to be a little different because of our construction. So please help us be respectful, responsible, and reliable, especially in those construction areas.
Good life, I say